I am Marietou Sidibe and this is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Kairaba Avenue. Thanks for joining us. Here are the main local news headlines. The people of Lower, Central Badibu and Ilyasa districts have renewed their support for President Barrow, the presidential candidate of the NPP-led Grand Coalition. A well-known politician has met President Barrow to renew his loyalty and support to the NPP, and there have been other major defections to the NPP. On Thursday, the British High Commission observed Remembrance Day to pay tribute to the war's heroes who fought against hostilities, many of whom lost their lives on the battlefront. Former American President Barack Obama has addressed young climate change activists at the ongoing COP26 in Scotland. The Q Group Foundation has presented cash to victims whose houses were destroyed by fire in London Corner on Sunday. Those were our main headlines. Now the news in detail. The people of Lower Badibu, Central Badibu and Ilyasa districts in the North Bank region have renewed their support for President Barrow, the presidential candidate of the NPP-led Grand Coalition, for a landslide victory on December 4th. Alusise reports.
This was the atmosphere at Farafene in the Ilyasa district on Wednesday night as President Barrow returned to the commercial town for his last meeting on day 2 of his campaign tour to seek re-election in December when Gambians vote for a president. President Barrow is accompanied on the campaign tour by coalition partners and supporters, including some from the diaspora. Addressing the Farafene meeting, President Adama Barrow echoed his belief in politics anchored on developments that transform the lives of people. He vows to send many political leaders into retirement post-December 4th. He reassured the people of Farafene of his commitment to uplift the lives of the people who elect him into office.
Ikonunte dokol men keno la mbebe ke kan Gambia ko na dokol bebe continue Gambia. Ikonte hakalan doku no la doko be keri. Ikonte saba sanjale doku no la dokol be keri. Salum ani nyani ja. Ani kian. Ñil ber dokol be keri. Na OIC road sol fran ngol fran datile. Gambia la highway kutoñi fran nga stadle. Silo etra duma silo etra sante wala be the first time in the history of this country ngaje Gambia.
In a similar engagement on Wednesday, President Barrow held 2 other meetings at Kerawan in Lower Badibu and Kerpate Kore in Central Badibu. The Kerawan meeting was a low-key and short one due to a funeral in that community. Addressing the meetings, President Adama Barrow reminded the people of Kerawan and Lower Badibu that he had ensured that Kerawan remains the host of the regional governor's office, as he revealed there were plans under the former government to relocate it to Farafene. Currently, the government is constructing a new governor's office and residence in Kerawan. He said Kerawan is gradually regaining its administrative status with an immigration office to process national identity documents, a medical doctor for the community health center, and a good quality accommodation for the president when he visits. At the border settlement of Kerpate Kore in Central Badibu, the NPP-led Grand Coalition candidate encouraged supporters to continue canvassing votes, while thanking the people for the rousing welcome accorded him. He commends the army, police, and intelligence service personnel for restoring peace and stability in the area, where armed robbery was once prevalent. On illegal migration, he expressed concern and promised to industrialize the country with factories to create jobs for young people. He wants to see young people productively engaged in key sectors of the economy, such as the fishing sector.
Kon dañ bëgg éliminer back way. We all say no to back way. Waaye loolu suñ ko bëggee pour mu realistic. Foog ñu créer jobs back home here.
The NPP-led coalition candidate also promised to construct the Darul Rilwan Kerpate road, which is in a poor state. At the meetings, the people of the 3 districts pledged their unflinching support to the NPP-led coalition due to what they say is the developments and freedom they enjoy. They are confident that President Barrow will be re-elected. Nonetheless, they need increased access to electricity for communities still without good road networks and healthcare service. In response, the President promises to address their concerns gradually. Speaking to QTV on the sidelines of the meetings, Usman Rambo Jatta, Deputy Party Leader of the APRC Party, says why more parties and candidates continue to endorse President Barrow.
Because we all know that NPP want to reconcile the country. We want to live in a peaceful atmosphere. And the right party to give that to the Gambian people is, of course, the NPP. That's why everybody is going to form coalition with the NPP.
Tenengdu, chairperson of the NPP Sweden chapter, calls on Gambians to join the president to develop the country.
With the grace of the Almighty, I know that we're going to win because most people believe in what he is doing. We are all seeing what he is doing. The development that's coming to the country, we don't even need to, the agenda is already sold because it's selling itself, because we've seen the hospitals, we've seen the doctors under training, we've seen the roads. So it's a lot of development that are coming to the country.
At the Farafenni meeting, 50 people claiming to be UDP supporters from Badibu Alkali Kunda, led by one Musa Mane, and over 300 GDC supporters from Farafenni announced joining NPP. Reporting for QTV News from Farafenni in the North Bank region, I am Aliou Cissé.
Mamadou Aliou Ba, a well-known politician, met President Barrow to renew his loyalty and support to the President's National People's Party. As Aliou Cissé reports, there have been other major defections to the NPP.
Speaking Mandinka to the press shortly after meeting the President in Farafenni on Thursday afternoon, Mamadou Aliou Ba, alias Emeba, said his move to join the NPP is driven by his belief in the President's interest and commitment to reunite the country for peace, progress and development. He promised to support the President's re-election bid.
MPP le support and MPP la agenda will support. But that is something we are deeply divided. All of us have to be very careful. The leader select Nyami. We need to reunite the country and difference will put aside. So, I'm a security officer. I did my analysis. I will do both left and right. I will do the unifying. So, we'll back home.
Yeah, we felt very elated. And as I always say, this is an indication that every Gambian is behind the president. And all those who, one way or the other, are party leaders or who wanted to be president, and very influential people, are listening to their people, the ordinary people in this country, because they are all decided to vote for President Adama Barrow and for his re-elections. So to have Emeba here come and endorse President Adama Barrow's candidature is a plus for us, and we want to thank him. And President Adama Barrow have thanked him very well and assured him and assured all those who came before him to feel at home and to be part of the team that is going to win, because everybody wants to be associated with the winning team. And comes December 4th, 2021, everybody will come on board and vote for peace and stability, vote for continuous socio-economic development. And he has highlighted, he told the president that because of his leadership qualities and his development-oriented position, he came to assure him that he's behind him and to endorse him and for continuation of that.
Next to meet the Gambian leader was Biran C, National Youth Mobilizer of the Old People's Party, and his deputy, Modlamin Gay, after they choose to endorse and align with the NPP-led Grand Coalition. Modlamin Gay, Deputy National Youth Mobilizer of APP, believes they have made the right decision.
The reason why I came here to meet the president is to actually align with him as a developing president, as a president whose mission and vision is to develop this country. And we believe I believe as an opposition, as a Gambian, as a citizen of this country, if I see that the president is really working hand in glove to make sure the country is developed, if I'm not selfish, I should come and join him in making sure the country is developed. And this is why I am here with my counterpart, Mr. Biran C.
Ajinde Njai, Deputy National Women's President of the opposition GDC party and also the adopted mother of the party's leader Mama Kandeh also met President Barrow to endorse him. She was accompanied to the president by Dr. Demba Sabali, NPP's second Deputy National President. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
On Thursday, the British High Commission observed Remembrance Day to pay tribute to the war's heroes who fought against humilities, many of whom lost their lives on the battlefront. QTV's Mamadou Lamine reports on the special event, and he looks at its historical significance and relevance in Gambian history.
A Remembrance Day for the fallen heroes who fought in the First and Second World Wars, the bloodiest in human history. The commemoration falls on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, marking when both the Allied forces, namely France, Britain, Russia, Italy, Japan and the United States on one side, and Axis forces made up of Germany, Austria-Hungary and Turkey on the other, signed an armistice for the cessation of hostilities on the Western Front of World War I. The signing took effect on November 11th at 11 a.m. in 1918. As part of the event marking the ceremony, a 2-minute silence is observed for the war heroes at the Commonwealth War Cemetery in Fajara. At the outbreak of the First World War, up to 2,000 young men were conscripted from the Gambian regiment to serve in the war through the West Africa Frontier Force, fighting in the battlegrounds of Togoland, Tanganyika, which is present-day Tanzania, and Tobruk, Libya, North Africa. Historian Hasum Cisse explains.
On the war front, both in the First World War and in the Second World War, Gambians participated, lost their lives, like dozens were wounded, so as to help to save the world from the menace of, Hitler and his cohorts. That's Mussolini and Imperial Japan.
The end of the First World War was not the end of hostilities, as other smaller wars were fought in many parts of the world. However, it was not until September 1939 that another more devastating war broke out, occasioning the formation of almost the same military alliances of the Allies and Axis forces and their colonies or empires.
Out of this, 1,400 Gambians who fought in Burma, 126 died in the Kalandan war front in Burma.
For Gambia's history, it was a war involving our men in a display of remarkable military prowess that earned them a special recognition.
Like Kinte Kamara, Private Kinte Kamara. One day in March 1944, he killed 15 Japanese in the jungles of Burma. And for this, he was decorated. As you can see the decoration there. He was given a special mention by the British Minister of Defense, then called the Minister for War, Sir Winston Churchill.
Military contribution was not the only support from Gambia for the British war efforts in Burma and the Philippines against the Nazi-led forces. As with other British colonies, Gambians helped rejuvenate the British war efforts with monetary contributions amounting to 100,000 British pounds to buy ambulances, airplanes and warships. Today, on behalf of Her Majesty the Queen, the British High Commissioner and members of the Diplomatic Corps lay a wreath and pay tribute to the war heroes at the Commonwealth War Cemetery in Fajara.
Gambian soldiers fought bravely alongside British and Allied soldiers in both World Wars. Of particular note is the Battle of Modoc in Burma, where the 1st Battalion, the Gambian Regiment, was honoured. As part of the 81st West African Division, they did a great deal to turn the tide of the war in Burma.
While we commemorate the war heroes, very few are with us today. And it is significant to remember that they still matter because their stories outlived them. Mohamed Lamin Choi, QTV News.
We will now go for a commercial break. When we return, we will have some more local news stories.
For the first time in the Gambia, under the visionary leadership of the National Livestock Owners Association, NALWA, Gambia Sheep Breeders Association, and Professional Sheep Breeders Association bring you the first ever private sector-led livestock show. Gambia Professional Ram Show 2021 from the 10th through to the 14th of November at the Abuka Livestock Showground. Chief Guest of Honor, the Honorable Minister of Agriculture, Madam Ami Fabure. Guest of Honor, Mr. Abukan from FENAFO and Adam all the way from Senegal. Chief Patron, the Honorable Lord Mayor of KMC, Mr. Talib Ahmed Bensouda. Entrance fee is face mask and sanitized hands. This event is sponsored by Uniglobal Animal Feed and the Small Ruminants Production Enhancement Project.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, QMoney and RIA just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from RIA directly into your QMoney account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any QMoney agent across the country to receive your payment for free or use the money immediately to buy credit, QPower and other QMoney services. It's fast, safe and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sunu Calpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. Former American President Barack Obama has addressed young climate change activists at the ongoing COP26 in Scotland. As Jaina Basonko reports from Glasgow, Mr. Obama says young people deserve a better world.
Climate change has brought uncertainty about the future, with sea level rise, drought, flooding and windstorms. Young people are confused about their future. The UN says the world is home to 1.8 billion young people aged between 10 to 25. Young people are huge contributors to climate change as well as victims. Former President of the United States of America, Barack Obama, met young climate activists to add to the already existing calls for the effective participation of young people in climate-related activities.
It's not always easy being young today. And for most of your lives, if you're in that generation, you've been bombarded with warnings about what the future will look like if you don't address climate change. And meanwhile, you've grown up watching many of the adults who are in positions to do something about it either act like the problem doesn't exist or refuse to make the hard decisions necessary to address it. And that's a source of real anxiety and real anger at older people. And some of you no doubt wonder if you'll be able to be safe in the community where you've grown up.
Green Up Gambia's Maimuna Jabe says social and climate injustice should be challenged to bring about a world where youth voices are at the forefront.
So as young people, to have a thriving environment for our innovation and our daily growth, so we really need to be at the forefront of the climate change. That is why the frontline movement calls on to more young people. Even though at the COP here, we are underrepresented in a sense, but it's important that we're represented in most of these international platforms to make sure our voices are heard, because the future we're talking about is not the old people who are going to live to that moment. It's our time it's our time now, but it's our time in the future.
Environmental activist with Green Up Gambia program officer Hussein Nikoli says because young people are not being put in the right places to be involved in environmental issues, they must look for their own innovative ways to contribute.
Some years back, over the years, we have seen young people of the Gambia taking up the responsibility, taking up the commitment, taking up the willingness to actively involve in climate change, climate fight, and make sure that climate action. And what is more amazing about what the young people are doing is not more of talking, but they are involved in more of climate action. We have been seeing, like, for example, Green Up Gambia, our partners, we have been seeing every year we embark on Summer Go Green Tree Planting campaign, as we reach out to communities, people, youth organizations, and now we are even seeing tertiary institution students are even taking up the lead to come and join us with the fight of climate change. So we are very much impressed about what is happening. Young people are not only talking, but they are giving action.
United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres is part of prominent individuals who are calling for the involvement of young people in climate-related activities. He says that his generation has failed when it comes to justice and preservation, and now it is left to the younger generation to change the narrative. Jenna Bosonko reporting for QTV News in Glasgow, UK.
The Q Group Foundation on Wednesday presented cash to victims whose houses were destroyed by a fire in London Corner on Sunday. 4 families lost all their belongings, rendering them homeless. Omar P. Jallo reports.
The November 7 fire destroyed a row of houses occupied by 5 families, leaving the tenants homeless. Being the philanthropist arm of the Q Group, the foundation is known for taking the lead in responding to emergencies and people's need, including fire and windstorm victims, overseas treatment for patients, and scholarships for students, amongst others. Omar Let, handing over cash to the victims on behalf of the Q Group Foundation, said both the CEO of the Q Group, Mohamed Jah, and the executive director of the Q Group Foundation, Aysat Jah, became aware of the incident while watching QTV News and immediately decided to support the victims.
We are here from the Q Group, that is QCell, QTV, QuantumNet, and so on, to come and see the damage caused by the fire. We understand that there were 4 apartments involved. So we've come to see and to sympathize with you. I mean, from the Q Group, we are concerned about people who live in the Gambia, about the citizens, and even, guests who are here to do good jobs. So whenever we see such things, we are very sympathetic, especially our chairman, CEO, Mohamed Jah, and the executive director, Madam Jah. In actual fact, from the Q Group Foundation, I was asked to come and, see you, see how we can help each other, but also to give you this envelope for you and your family. We know it will not solve the problems, but it will help you to start off.
On behalf of the victims, Mohamed Conte commended the CEO of the Q Group and the executive director of the foundation, describing them as real patriotic Gambians who are not only there for their business, but for the people in times of need. Mr. Conte further welcomed the initiative of the Q Group Foundation, describing it as generous and timely.
I'm full of joy. I thank the Q family, Mr. Jah, the wife, the workers. I appreciate. May Allah give you people more health and energy to continue your good job you are doing. I appreciate. I thank all of you for coming here. From the one when this problem starts, you people are here with us. We appreciate it with my family. With the tenants, I really appreciate.
Aysatu Job, Jeremiah Jallo, and Mariam Okeo, all victims, also thank and pray for the Q Group Foundation and call on the government, philanthropists, individuals, and the private sector to emulate the Q Group's initiative. The Q Group Foundation was established in 2016 to streamline support for national development in health, education, youth development, and entrepreneurship, amongst others. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
Before we end, here's a recap of the main headlines. The people of Lower, Central Badibo and Ilyasa districts have renewed their support for President Barrow, the presidential candidate of the NPP-led Grand Coalition. A well-known politician met President Barrow to renew his loyalty and support to the NPP, and there have been other major defections to the NPP. On Thursday, the British High Commission observed Remembrance Day to pay tribute to the world's heroes who fought against hostilities, many of whom lost their lives on the battlefront. Former American President Barack Obama has addressed young climate change activists at the ongoing COP26 in Scotland. The Q Group Foundation presented cash to victims whose houses were destroyed by fire in London Corner on Sunday. That's all we have for you in this bulletin. Thank you for watching.